Joanna Wallace, everybody. How are you?
Is this the beginning? Are we starting?
Finally at the beginning. Guys,
Oh.
you didn't even know. We came into this so professional. Joanna and I are professionals, and we prepped hard for this.
It's fun to do podcasts on the road when you're in a hotel room.
Yes, we've been on this podcast a few times, and you have some very great experience with leading teams, which I think is fantastic because I'm kind of in this weird crack in the industry where I work with a lot of teams, but I also work with a lot of individuals. So I always love having you on the show because we get to deep dive talk about like the human side of D2C, not just the ad side of D2C, which don't get me wrong, I love ads, but the people who make the ads are kind of important. So in your experience, what was the biggest team size you ever led? Let's talk about that first. Like how many people?
That's a complicated question because of like the volume of like editors and designers who are like freelance.
True.
That's really tricky. I would say probably like 3 strategists and then like a mini army of international editors and designers.
Yeah, you did. You really had people like all over the world that were kind of like direct reports to you. Okay, so let's estimate like 10, 15, somewhere in there, which is a decent team size. Like that's big.
Yeah, let's say that. I think between like my agency time and HexClad, yeah, it's also amorphous.
I know. People go in, people come out. Like, it is what it is. Now, the only reason I ask how many is because some of the people that follow like brain-driven brands very specifically are people who are solo founders. So they're doing all their ads themselves. And then we have a huge group of people who are like, I have a team of 2. It's just me and like,
and I've done that thing too. And that's kind of my specialty is like, how the hell do you make something out of nothing?
Oh my gosh, yes. Especially when there's only 2 people. Thank God you have 2 brains because it is helpful to have another person in the room. But then there's only 2 of you. And it's like, cool, well, we're going to see what we can make between the 2 of us. It's literally like running like a Michelin star restaurant with like a chef and a sous chef.
I mean, it's like crack first because whoever like first gets the time off.
100%. Who's going to go down in flames first? Let's just talk about that. Yeah. Okay. So for big teams, small teams, one of the things that I notice that's very consistent is we start to feel apathy, almost like indifference to our ads right at about September. I've noticed it like starts early September. And then as we get into October, we start to just get this, like, I don't want to do this. It's almost like resistance towards it, and I've talked to tons and tons of teams because like I said, I'm a consultant. So I'm in like weird spots in the industry, but it doesn't matter how big you are, big, small. You could have a team of 15 managing all of your ads. You could have a team of 2. Everybody kind of gets this same sense of just like, I can't do anymore.
Yeah.
Like I've been so creative for so long, entire year I've been creative. And now you're asking me to ramp it up by 10.
Yeah.
It's intense. And I don't think people quite know how to handle it. So in your experience, what's been the most helpful for managing like team burnout?
Okay. So the first thing is anyone who's ever worked with or for me who watches this is going to be like, Joe, you do not have this figured out. And I will be the second person to tell you I don't have this figured out. However,
we got thoughts about it.
We're making every single year we are making progress.
Yes.
And I think it's really a team effort to keep each other healthy.
Yes.
Because I think when you're on these small teams, if they're a good team, these are overachievers. These are people who, especially when you're in that like foxhole together, and a lot of people even like stay at jobs they hate simply because their partner or their colleague, they don't want to abandon them. So you get this really tight bond of like not letting the other person down.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah. And so I think that goes both ways of you have to be like, it's okay, you can let me down. You have to give permission to each other to take time for yourself. So the way I've kind of the system I've kind of gotten to is treating the entire year like preparation for Q4, which is like such a bummer. But
it's reality though. That's the reality of it. Yeah.
And every single quarter, I essentially demand that my team take some time off. So like, even if that's like a 4-day weekend, like, I don't care if you sit on your ass and watch Hunting Wives, which you should. But like
anything, just go watch some TV.
Yeah, just like stare at the wall. Like, don't please just don't be here for a minute and like go recharge, however, disassociate, go on vacation, whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
So you have to force these people to take time off. If you don't have a staff like that, like that's not the problem, and you need to like stop them from taking so much time off. But like when I'm in charge of hiring, those are the people who I'm surrounding myself with.
Yeah.
Because that's who I am. And I'm not gonna partner with somebody who doesn't have that same team mentality. So anyway, making sure everybody is taking breaks throughout the year, mandatory breaks.
Yeah.
The next
Long
thing
if
is,
you can. Long-term breaks, I would say, caveat to that.
yes,
Like a day break is helpful. It's
right.
not going to reset though. You got to get your team at least 2 to 3 days of just complete time off. If not longer, if you can handle it. I've noticed that sweet spot for Sarah at least is 4 days. If I
Well,
can
it
get
takes
4
3 days to
days,
unclench.
yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And the weekend is not enough, guys,
No,
because we're
no, no,
like
no.
Sunday scaries are a real thing. Really, I only get Saturday because then Sunday comes around and I'm prepping for the next week. So I'm already in my emails and I'm
Yeah.
already back to it and like whatever. So weekends are not enough. If you can get your team 3 to 4
Yeah.
days. Like
This is minimum.
do it.
Let me preface this. This is like on top of this, please take vacation. But like at the very least, I need
100%.
you to take an excessively long weekend to like
Yes.
decompress. The other thing that's really important is August, September. Y'all got to go on vacation. Like you
Yes.
need
Get out,
to,
get out, get out. Yep.
everybody needs to figure out a schedule
Yeah.
so that people can go on at least a week vacation in preparation for this big
Yes.
push.
Because it's gonna be big. Yeah.
And I think like a big, and so for my teams, I'm sort of like, please, we don't take vacation during Q4.
Let's pause for just a minute. I've caught myself Googling better ways to scale ads outside of Meta more and more recently because let's be real, if your business only lives on Meta or Google, you're basically just renting customers instead of owning them. When all of your ad dollars flow through the same 2 platforms, you're kind of just stuck, right? It's a mental trap of like a little bit of learned helplessness. Costs are going to rise, controls are going to vanish, and you're going to start to believe that there's no other way. Kind of feels like you're just pressing buttons in a machine that doesn't care if you win or lose. This is where Other Side comes in. They have completely rebuilt programmatic advertising from the ground up. And this is the reason why we've partnered with them. Instead of being kind of chained to one platform, you get access to connected TV, display, native, audio, mobile apps. And unlike kind of those clunky old programmatic agencies, Other Side uses their own optimization algorithm. You can kind of think of this as kind of like a bias-free decision engine that adapts in real time across every single channel. Other Side builds those pathways by hitting your customer on Netflix, Candy Crush, then Spotify. So the message kind of just feels familiar and not forced. You get unified tracking on this. So no more attribution black holes. Other Side is going to give you transparent performance reports. So you can finally get like cognitive clarity, right, on what's actually driving sales. They are already running profitable programmatic campaigns for brands across D2C, health, wellness, lead gen, all over the place. The only question isn't if you'll work with them, it's when. And you're going to regret waiting. So go do it today. Here's kind of the TLDR on this. They back it all with a money back guarantee, which I really appreciate. If they don't deliver on the results you're hoping for, then they're going to refund your retainer, which in today's day and age, I really, really appreciate. So if you are ready to kind of just stop renting your growth and actually start owning your scaling strategy, head over to jointheotherside.com. That's jointheotherside.com. They are programmatic and they're rebuilt to perform. So go check them out today. And now back to the show.
You can take a day off. You know what I'm saying? Like you have a
Yeah.
wedding, you have life, whatever. But like nobody is taking more than a few days off because the team suffers. The team then burns out faster because one person went and had a life. And again, your life is more important than your job. Please don't miss life moments. But like this is not the time to go to Cancun for funsies.
100%. Yes. You guys got to prep for when your teams go out. And I will add on to this that I saw a post. I can't remember who it was by. It was somebody at like big top of the brand. She was talking about the fact that like somebody was complaining that she put in kind of restrictions on you guys can't take long-term vacation, meaning over these 4 days, can't take long-term vacation inside this time period, which is like October to the end of November. And that her team was like cranky about it. And I was like, guys, this is the industry. This is what it is.
It's not even about the revenue. It's not about keeping your job. It's nothing like that. It is first and foremost the team.
Yeah.
And I really, really firmly believe that it's important to take care of yourself because if one of you goes down, the rest of you are going to just probably be like bailing out the ship.
And it's impossible to get it to actually go in a smooth manner without everybody like all hands on deck type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing is you got to start preparing for Q4 early so that you're pacing yourself. So like if you're cramming in all of your Q4 shoots in October, that sucks. You really need to start parceling it out in September.
Yes. Yep.
Start thinking about it in August. You don't necessarily need to take action in terms of productions until like September, early October. But like when I see teams start to think about Black Friday, like 2 weeks before, like I'm having an aneurysm for that. I think the biggest thing about Q4, and you didn't ask this question, but like you can insert the question later. And then we'll just like re-edit. So I think the biggest thing is understanding that like I come from team sports, if you can't tell. So like Thanksgiving is like halftime, you know, and that is when the coach comes in and needs to give a pep talk, whether you're winning or whether you're losing at
Yep.
halftime. It's like when you go to lunch and you come back from lunch at work and you're slogged, like you're just like you're
Yes.
digesting and like not mentally all there. Like that's kind of by the time you get to Thanksgiving, everybody has just eaten like a bunch
Oh
of
my God.
literally eaten a bunch of turkey and they're
They're
free.
so tired.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
You need to not only as their manager come in there and tell them
Mm.
how much that you appreciated their work. Along the way, you should be also, but appreciation and recognition and
Goes
specifically calling
so
people
far.
out for specific achievements, not just like rah-rah team participation trophy, like really make people should have ownership on their team. And then if the thing they have ownership over does well, they need to be recognized for that.
100%.
So I think it's not even just like me, the manager, because that's like mom being like, "You're so pretty, you're the prettiest one in the class, everyone's jealous of you." Like, no, that means nothing. Upper management.
Yes.
C-suite.
C-suite.
A lot of management and like C-suite don't necessarily understand what the paid media team does and how hard they work
Yes.
during that time. And
Very
like all
true.
departments are working their asses off.
Yeah.
But if you can get that gratitude, that thank you, that you're doing well, let's have that
Yeah.
last push
Oh,
from people who do not see your everyday work.
yeah.
That is where you say, you know what? I'm ready to kick ass for this second half. If you
Yeah.
don't get that, you don't feel appreciated and you're like, why am I killing myself? Why am I getting sick?
Yeah.
Why am I working late? For what? No one's even caring or noticing.
Yes. I don't think people notice this as much. Maybe people think that this is like an anomaly, but it happens at almost every single agency and almost every single brand. As soon as Black Friday's done, employees switch roles. They're like, I'm out. Like, I
Yes,
can't do this
that's really
anymore.
important.
Like, this was an incredibly stressful experience and I can't do it. So they skip to another brand or they skip to another
Yeah.
agency only to have the same experience again the next year. And I'm like, guys, like, we have
Different
to slow
flavor.
down. You gotta,
Well,
I know that it's hard, but like, you gotta slow down long enough to notice what's happening.
yeah, and I think that's really important as a manager with Q4, I'll tell my team like this is going to be stressful, but we are in this together. But every
Yeah.
team, like every manager and every team has different issues during Q4 and different process issues or staffing issues
Yeah.
that lead
Very
to
true.
working late or frustrations or
Yeah.
inability to do things as seamlessly as you'd like to. So Q4
Mhm.
gets unnecessarily stressful. So there's always something that's going to make it unnecessarily
Yeah.
stressful. If you don't know how to manage your team and to show appreciation and to
Mhm.
pace them, they quit in January. And a lot of
Yeah.
times that's out of the manager's control. A
Yeah.
lot of times.
And before anybody just like scrolls away from this podcast, I know we're diving deep into like management and
Yeah.
like a little bit away from ads, but this is critical. Like this particular piece is going to make or break your Black Friday because there's
Yeah.
humans that are developing your ads, whether you're using a lot of AI or not. This is a human based department and everybody in here needs support.
And it's creative. So like I
Yeah.
was talking to my
Very
husband
creative.
the other day, and he runs his own like remote office management bookkeeping company. And so when he has a lot of work, it's all very concrete.
Yeah.
He got through his one client has 3 credit cards. He needs to log the transactions for the month. He went through, it took him a long time. He was stressed because it was a lot of work. But ultimately at the end, he wrapped it up with a nice bow. It's accurate, it's numbers, it's done.
Yeah.
Very different for us.
Yeah.
We can't
You
think
can't turn it off.
creatively.
Yeah.
But also, first of all, it's hard to think creatively when you're exhausted and you're burnt out. Second,
Oh my
or you're
God, yeah.
rushing last minute. And second of all,
Totally.
there's always that doubt because it is not 2 + 2 = 4.
Yeah.
There is no correct answer. It's subjective. And so you're always, every time you ship out your creative, there's that,
Yep.
oh, is my hypothesis
Like, is it
correct?
gonna work? Yep. Every
Right?
time. Every time. Yes.
Yeah. So there's no, even when you are done with the work, it's just the stress doesn't stop.
Yes. It's so true. Okay. So we've talked a little bit about like the burnout, what we're experiencing, a few different ways that we can help people, obviously, like just support. Is there anything you've seen that it was like this team crushed Black Friday and they came out of it like in just like such an amazing way that like they were ready to crush the next year? Have you seen a team like that and what they did specifically?
Our Q4 last year for HexClad wasn't perfect in terms of, I think the stuff we put out was amazing. And not saying the ads weren't perfect because we're humans, but you know what I mean? It's nothing to do with
Yes.
the product.
Yeah.
But I will say that my team did say that like this is the best Q4 they've had or could expect. I don't know if necessarily like our edit team agree, but I'm talking about like the 2 strategists.
Yeah. Was
and
that an organizational thing?
We
Or
were
like
hyper
I
organized and we were
okay.
hyper prepared in advance. And we
Ah,
got thrown a lot of curveballs because there's all these other departments that
yeah,
play a
needs to know.
role in your
Yeah,
offers and
yeah,
everything. But our team was nimble and prepared. So when you get hit by all these variables, we were like
ready.
ready and organized
Mhm,
and we
mhm.
started really early. And so I think that like I know that I drive my team too hard in terms of like you have 4 slots for ads, but you have 6
Yeah.
ideas, and it's so hard to just not do the 6, and, like, me and my team will do the 6, and we, like, hate ourselves because 'cause we're like, "We're working extra." But, like, with that creative, like, compulsion, like, sometimes you just can't do the 4.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we
Very
know
true.
we're
Sometimes
making
you
it
just
harder
have
on
to.
ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. At least you came into it with that mentality. Okay, so organizational wise, let's move into tactic, like strategy wise.
Yeah.
When did you start? What did you prep first, second, third, fourth, fifth? And like how close did you get to Black Friday before everything was ready?
So, I wanted to start prepping in August last year,
Mm,
and I couldn't because
smart.
we ended up having this really cool sweepstakes. So, like, everybody,
Oh, that's right.
all of our attention had to go
Yeah.
towards the sweepstakes, which was
Yeah.
awesome. And so we really got started in September. And I would say the first thing you need to do is really figure out what footage do I need because that's going to take
Mm,
the longest to get out, to the
yes.
process has to start. Really, really, truly, you have to have kind of um either some specific concepts, but really just like you need a foundational shoot for the
100%.
holidays.
Okay. Yep.
So
Yep.
half of your strategy or whatever
Yeah.
percentage of your strategy is going to be scaling what's worked before. You
Okay.
are
Yeah.
going to need some new footage. You're probably going to need some like wrapping paper and, bundle shots of new bundles, or
Hmm.
whatever the hell it is, Christmassy feeling. So you're going to need some of that and you have to do that early, especially if it's like high
Yes.
production value or you need UGC talent, whatever it is. Start that in September.
Okay. Yep.
You can have stragglers later, but if you
Yeah.
don't have that bulk stuff and again, it's like my favorite thing is the foundational shoot. You don't have to have every ad planned, but
Yeah.
you need to set yourself up with a reasonable bank of assets, of static and video
Yes.
assets so that you can
100%.
recombine in
Yep.
whatever ways start to make sense as the season unfolds.
Yep, 100%. Okay. Okay, so we're starting in September and we're actually sitting down with the team and prepping. What kind of video do we need? What kind of like unboxings or wrappings or black and gold or like what kind of UGC?
Yeah.
So we write down a list. Okay, what happens after that? So that takes you maybe a couple weeks?
Well, the number one thing before that actually is to really
Mm,
get a sense of what is our spend and
okay, yeah.
working with the
Yeah.
media buyers, working with your head of growth and figuring out what is the volume of assets we are going to create. And that
Mm,
is going to determine the shoots that we need. So
right.
apologies. That's step
That's right.
one is
Yep.
what are the expectations of us in terms of deliverables? Because then you
Okay.
have to get very selective. If you don't have a large amount of money to play with,
Yeah.
you have to be hyper, hyper selective and you're not going to need as many assets. So you can take your time a little bit more. If you have a
Mhm.
huge volume of assets though, you got to get started early. And you should
Oh, yeah.
honestly have some
Billions.
certain stuff wrapped
Mm,
weeks in advance. If
yeah.
there's no variable that's going to change, that should be done early and you should start delivering in
Yes.
waves as it's
Yeah.
done. Not everything
Yeah.
should be delivered that day before your media buyer is going to launch it. Number one, that media buyer cannot launch it all night. You need
Nope.
to let that guy or that
Yeah.
girl space
Oh,
it
you set
out.
up campaigns. Yep. Get them
They'll
scheduled.
make
Yeah.
mistakes if you give them
Yeah.
100 ads at once. That's not
Mhm.
fair.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and this is the time period where 100 ads used to be the norm of like, okay, Black Friday, we have crap tons going in. Now 100 ads is the base level because everybody's running volume, which I have my own beef with, as you know. But now we're getting to the point where if we're already at 100 ads a week or 100 ads a month, whatever it is, we're going to have to double or triple that, which means now we
Yeah.
got
Well,
200 ads that we have to load it. That's way too many.
and that's the other thing. Man, my order is all wrong. I'm so sorry. So the other thing is
That's okay.
once you figure out the deliverables,
Yes.
you need to figure out your staff. And so what
Yeah.
I did actually over the summer last year at HexClad is I started locking in my editors because my staff were my strategists.
Mm. Yeah.
Everybody else was
Smart.
freelancers and most of them were part-time. And so I got contracts going in August saying,
Smart.
I am going to lock you in. You can't
Just for
disappear.
Black Friday. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's like
That's smart.
October
Yeah.
through December,
So
you are locked
smart.
in full-time,
So
part-time,
smart.
whatever we have. Yeah. Because
I love this.
you don't have editors, you don't have ads.
Yep. Yeah. You gotta
So
have it. You have to have them. And especially if you're right now, it's September 22nd, like it's a little too late. But if you just don't have anybody on board, this week is the week you got to go find your editor quickly
yeah.
because we got to get this into prep for the full term of October. Now you and your editor are just going to be sitting down deciding how many ads do we need, what do we
Yep.
want to shoot, where do we need to get this footage from, right? Because you got to get that in place quickly. Okay. So,
And I know great editors. So if you need one,
yeah.
don't call me. Please don't find my phone number.
Joanna's got the hook up. Okay. So we start with budget. We start with understanding spend. Then we move on to specifically staffing, getting people in place so that we can actually use that spend. Then we'll go into trying to decide how much footage do we need? Do we need to source any UGC creators? Who do we need to schedule? Then we'll go on to actually prepping strategy. So there's like 4 steps before you even get to the Black Friday strategy. And this is why I love that we're doing this now, because I'm going to do inside my school group. Shout out to Tetherlab if you guys want to join. Link is below. Anyways, inside school group, I'm doing a Black Friday workshop on Wednesday where we're just going to sit down and talk about like, okay, what are you guys building? What do you need to have in place? Let's make a list. Let's make a plan. So I love that you've been through quite a few of these and you have a system because, I don't think people even realize it's not about just like the offer. It's not just about like what ads you're going to run. Look at all this prep that you have to do beforehand just to make sure you have enough ads to be able to run this system.
And also my team last year, we all came from agencies. So this was our first in-house Black Friday. Okay. And that is a very different beast. And actually, no, it was my second because I started November 1st of 2023, which was a wild ride.
I was going to say that's a lot.
So it was my second. It was my second with HexClad, but the first that I truly got to organize from the beginning. And that was really for agencies, it's different. You have a bunch of different clients. You're not in charge of the same kind of volume usually, and you're not in charge of the main strategy usually. But we really sat down and we were like, what has always gone wrong everywhere we've ever worked?
Smart.
What didn't we like? What made everything worse for us? Let's plan in advance and not do that.
I love that you guys are using kind of that like, there's a principle. And it just left me. There's one specific principle that talks about the fact that look at the things that went wrong, not the things that went right. Because like you can continue to go. Yeah. Mine too. Just look at everything that I don't want to do again and then move away from that. Oh, this is fantastic. Okay. So once you get to strategy, what is it that you guys sat down and like looked at strategy wise? Like how do you build a Black Friday strategy?
Yeah. This talk makes me realize I should have prepared for this, but it's okay. I know this stuff. I'm just like, maybe that outline of steps would have been in order. No,
we're working through it. We're working through it.
So you should never, ever, ever, dear God, ever go into any sale ever, but especially Black Friday with all new creative. Like
I feel this in my soul.
My soul.
Please don't use new creative.
You have spent all year creating your library and your strategy of what to do this year. So basically everything you've learned from every sale and every evergreen period throughout this entire year is what is going to determine your strategy. You are not making it up on the spot. Excuse me. You're not making it up on the spot. So like, for example, every sale that we had at HexClad in 2024, I used that to further our knowledge and make sure that we had strategic learnings along the way so that when we got to Q4, we already had we had like 4 or 5 maybe templates for what really worked during sales. And each sale we would do some tweaking. So it was like, this one has a bit more Americana themed because it's July 4th. And this one is, Prime Day. So we, can't say Amazon. So we just use their blue, like whatever it is, like, each one has its own flavor. And so you can put the flavor of the season on that top performing ad, but it should come from that base of this has worked for us for 3 sales in a row.
Oh my gosh. I feel this in my soul. Strategy always has to start with what works well. And it also has to start with the fact that like, you don't have this kind of time, people. You do not have this kind of time to generate hundreds of new ads over the course of like a month. And get them all loaded and prepped. Like it just, oh my God.
Work smarter. Somebody said that like, oh God, I feel so bad. I think it was Sam, was saying how like the best strategist is the lazy strategist. Because you shouldn't be overthinking it. And like, I definitely overthink everything, but there is a space for new creative, but you need to understand that's your riskiest creative. And there is a what is it? Column, pillar, lane.
Yep.
There's a lane. Getting there.
We're doing great.
Time difference right now. There's a lane for that, but you need to assume everything that you are doing that's new is going to fail. Just assume. And everything else needs to cover its ass. So for example, good old sticky note post-it ads. I introduced it, I think, Memorial Day sale of 2024. And so then we kind of perfected it a little bit. And so by Black Friday, and I was like shooting most of these because it's at home and I'm cheap.
Yeah.
So I went out and got like all this different colored wrapping paper. And so instead of my like wood table background, it was different kinds of holiday wrapping paper and holiday visual. So it's the same thing, but now it's this holiday version of it, but you didn't change so much that you're going to lose the way it works, because I already tested it in 3 sales with 3 different backgrounds. And I knew I'm safe to change this background.
Yep.
I'm a compulsive planner, which is funny because I'm also late for everything, but like never deliverables, just doctor's appointments. So what's really important to me, being the compulsive, crazy person that I am, is that especially towards around mid-year, I make sure, no, that's a lie. I do it all the time. I make sure that all my UGC people are saying vague sale messages when I'm sending them a brief.
Ooh,
So
smart.
I'm getting, because you don't know what your sale is going to necessarily be.
Yeah.
But if you have like a general 20% off or general 40% off, like get that, because it's going to come back around.
I love this. Evergreen, man. Evergreen messaging.
Yeah. And I always get
it.
that evergreen sale messaging.
Yes.
And that way, when we come back around to Black Friday, if you were a top performer, I don't have to pay you to do new shoes. I don't have to deal with getting pickups, because even if you didn't say the amount, my graphic will say the amount. It's fine.
Now, this comes down to organization, which I love that we called out earlier in this. Is just, you got to be organized. You have got to get somebody on the team who understands, okay, we really need to go in and like organize these asset folders so that we know what's in here, what people said inside the video, who was in the video, how long ago they said it. Like, tag people, just tag stuff. That way, when you get to this point in Black Friday and you need extra footage, you just like walk in there, grab it.
Yeah. Let me actually preface this by saying that the first step is, at some point during the year, within like 2 months out at least of Black Friday, is get your shit off of Google Drive.
Oh my God, yes.
Pick a platform, any platform. I'm obviously quite loyal to Recharm, but like,
yes,
pick a freaking platform and get your shit organized. It is the best investment that you can ever make, is to have everything easily findable. When you bring on new freelance editors for Q4, they can find shit immediately. You don't have to like onboard them.
This is going to have to be a 2-parter. So this first half was faster. Get to rust on in 6 minutes. Well, the next part of it is, I want to see your launch strategy. So we might do like, this is like Black Friday strategy part 1. And then we'll do Black Friday strategy with Joanna part 2. Because the next piece of this, which I think we need to really drive into, is, when do you launch? What did you prep? What did you do with the email team? Like, what was their role in this? Like, yeah, there's so many pieces to it, which is the reason why I love talking to you, because you have you have good experience, but you also have like a really good way of thinking about this, where it's like, guys, fundamentals, like, just get the basics in place. You could always be more creative on top of that. But if you don't have basics, there's no way to be creative, because you're just going to be putting out fires for the next 6 weeks. And you don't want that.
Yeah.
You don't want that in your life.
And there was like I feel like there's a big debate of like, maybe there's no debate. I have a debate in my head of whether you do like a campaignified sale, or whether you your different verticals, like your retention and whatever, are all just doing their own thing based on what they know has worked throughout the year.
Yeah.
I think it's a really interesting question of, what is the value of the consistency of the brand versus pulling yourself further from the data of what you know works. So it's like, if you can campaignify what you're doing without getting too far away from what the data said works, great. But like, I always get really nervous. Like, I love campaignification, it's beautiful, but like, oh, I heard it worked all year and I know what works. And like, do we really need it to be pretty?
Yeah. Well, again, at the end of the day, this comes down to, we're going to do the best we can to hit our forecasted like metrics. We're trying to hit our numbers as best we can. But at the same time, we're human, guys. Like, the people that work inside this industry are human. We're doing the best we can. And
my biggest thing is,
it is what it is.
If you want to make a major change, if you're like, this is when we're going to campaignify, this is when we're going to start doing this. First of all, please do that during some other time in the year. But if you are going to do that, treat that as that lane. That's that new content lane. So for example, we were trying that out at HexClad at one point, and I wanted to make sure we still had the original. Let's try the one that's much prettier. But let's also have that original there for safety. Because like bizarrely working
Mhm.
in a gambling type industry, I am not a gambler. And like
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
am
same.
not here. If I'm gonna take a risk, I'm also gonna hedge my bets.
Yep.
And so if the campaignified one turns out better, great. Oh my
Yeah.
God, we learned this. Now we can go campaignified. This is phenomenal.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, thank you,
Yep.
God, Jesus, my ugly ad is still
Keep your like fail safes intact, people. Don't just pull them out of the ad account because it's Black Friday. I could talk to you about this forever. Okay, where can people find you? And we'll have you back to do the next section sometime soon.
Yeah, no, you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm Joanna Wallace, but I changed my name, so it's Joanna Sloan Wallace. Good luck trying to spell that. I'm not the best-selling author, Joanna Wallace. I'm the other one.
It's fine. It'll be all right.
And yeah, and then you can also find me in my series that I do Fix It and Post with Recharm, which is my favorite asset organization platform that insane. Yeah, where I talk about this kind of stuff as well on YouTube.
Thank you, Joanna. This was lovely. We're gonna have you back for part 2. I don't know, maybe whenever you're back from your trip. Let me know.
I know. I'm in New York for a month for this new job, which is very exciting.
You're in here for a month? I thought you were just here for a couple weeks.
My first day is tomorrow.
Oh.
VP of Paid Creative at Burnout.
I'm so
I don't even know
excited.
the title yet. I'm like,
what is my job? We're gonna have you back and talk all about that transition, because now I want to hear like from scratch. You're starting up basically like, I am brand new to their ecosystem. What are you gonna change? What are you gonna keep?
I'm gonna learn a lot about things. That's where I'm going with this.
This is the reason why I love just like starting new jobs, though, because it's like, this is going to be interesting. I don't know anything about this particular entity. We're going to learn.
I wear
Now you know all about pots and pans, and now you're going to learn about shorts and pants. You go where you're needed, and needed is really what it is. Thank you for end this recording. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today. Appreciate you guys listening. If you want to follow me, I'm at Sarah Levinger. Anywhere you consume content. If you like this show and if you like this episode, go ahead and like, subscribe, share with a friend. Drop us a review when you have a minute. We would appreciate it. Otherwise, have a great week. We'll see you next time.